Hi, my name's Annamarie von der Meijden, and I'm a pilot and soon-to-be aircraft mechanic. A little bit about my background is I grew up overseas. My parents were missionaries, and we traveled quite a bit. Uganda was my first home. We lived up in the north and often used math. And my parents used to joke that that's how aviation first got in my blood, since before I could walk, I'd been on more airplanes than they could count. And growing up in developing countries, I saw firsthand how people of many different cultures lived out their faith despite challenging circumstances like poverty, violence, lack of education, infrastructure, medical care. And this had a strong influence on me wanting to pursue missionary aviation. When I lived in Chad during 2 civil wars, my family experienced a lot of dangerous situations, and I saw corruption and extreme poverty. And through this, my faith really came alive to me personally in ways I saw God at work. And also the core missionary community there, who are really strongly dedicated to making an impact despite the risks, and loving people who weren't given an equal opportunity at a good life, hugely inspired me, and is something I want to be a part of. Becoming a missionary pilot and mechanic is a dream that I've had ever since I was little. Living in remote areas of the world, I've seen firsthand what a lifeline aviation is, and it's inspired me to want to use my passion for airplanes to help people and share the gospel. I love what it says in the book of James, chapter 2, about putting action to our faith, stepping out when we see needs. And to me, that's what I believe God has called us to do as believers. We are to be the hands and feet of Jesus and the environments he places us in, and use the passions he has given us for his glory. When I met Stuart King, one of MAP's founders, had a huge impact on me taking the first step in pursuing this dream. I met Stuart when I was living in the Netherlands in 2015, and I was in university at the time, which was more of a logical decision than a heart decision, as I didn't have the finances to start flight training. But Stuart, he strongly encouraged me not to give up my dream if this was something God had placed on my heart. And I still clearly remember him saying how we need to have more female pilots on the field. And our correspondence since then has always been a big support to me. And it was really special getting to visit with them one last time on my way over to Uganda last year. I think it's important to be passionate about what you're doing. It doesn't matter what gender or race you are. If God's given you a dream, you need to go for it. And this has always been my perspective with aviation. When I went to Uganda last year to intern with MAP, I didn't give much thought to the fact that I'd be the only female mechanic in the hangar. And it wasn't until my intro day, when a local lady in the office, she gave me a heads up and was like, you know what, Annamarie, for many of the local guys around here, you're going to be the first female mechanic they've ever met. And it was a really positive experience working in that culture where many women are never given the opportunity or even the idea that working in a more technical setting is a possibility. And I had a lot of positive conversations with the local guys who have daughters and sisters and wives. And for me, it was such a privilege getting to carry this message and be an example that women are capable in technical roles. Our gender shouldn't be seen as an obstacle when God gives us passions and skills for things. The best way to describe my training journey is that it's been a zigzag adventure of faith. My training path has been a little out of the box. Not everything has turned out as I expected. It's really been a journey of trusting God with every step, and this has really built my faith. After meeting Stuart King, I moved back to Canada and earned my pilot's license at MATA, Mission and Aviation Training Academy in Washington State. And this is a missionary-run training base and was an amazing foundation to begin my training. I then immediately jumped into maintenance training in BC. I volunteered at Prairie Aviation Training Center in the hangar, worked as an apprentice in Ontario. God opened some amazing doors for me to volunteer with the Harvard Association and continue with some flying. I received a really exciting scholarship to join a flight crew flying across Alaska to fundraise for a local charity there. And last year I went to Uganda for a maintenance internship with MAF for 5 months, which COVID stretched to 11. And now I'm back at MATA, finishing up my maintenance license and trusting God's provision to finalize my flight training here as well this year. And through all the steps of my training, I've seen God at work in amazing ways. And every time I've gone outside my comfort zone in faith, God has provided. And this has given me the confidence and conviction that I'm on the path God has set for me. When I was flying in Alaska, I got grounded unexpectedly in a rural, no road access community. But God worked out the situation in such an awesome way. I got myself to Anchorage, where complete strangers from a local church picked me up, housed me, connected me with their friend who was a pilot, CFI, and had his own airplane, which he let me fly, and he flew up to Kingdom Airport to drop me off. And that was a place I wanted to visit, which is way up in the mountains and specializes in training missionary pilots and mechanics. So I spent the rest of my time there until my planned commercial flight back to Ontario, helping out in the hangar, joining on some flights. And the connections I made during that time and the people I met were so God-timed and encouraging. And it's been these God moments along the way which have been a huge motivation through the challenging situations and obstacles I've walked through in my training journey. And it's really been exciting. I've seen God stitching my training steps together and preparing me for the dream of serving in missions. What makes me passionate about the work I do is definitely the people. It is so rewarding getting to be a part of people's lives. And for me, that was my absolute favorite part about my year in Uganda. Is working together with a team of national staff and expat, building relationships with people I met. I ate matoke and posho with Ugandans my parents worked together with 20 years earlier, and meeting Sam Supway, hearing his stories of flying out with MAF for the Jesus Film outreach in different villages around Uganda, talking with my night guard, John Bosco, about his 15 kids and hearing how they're handling the lockdown with limited income, connecting with the local pastor, Kinatama, who my mother worked with and who adopted me into their family. Their daughter, Jemmy, she's my age, and she convinced a girl not to have an abortion and adopted the baby as her own, which is a huge deal in the local culture for being a single lady with little income. And just getting to share daily life alongside these people is inspiring. And it's in these moments where I see God at work. I'm working towards becoming a commercial rated pilot and aircraft mechanic and use these skills on the mission field to share the gospel. There's a high standard of training that is required to be prepared to fly and fix airplanes in this setting. As a missionary pilot, you don't get 8,000 feet tarmac runways with clear skies. You need to be prepared for the 2,500 foot dirt strips on a slope with challenging weather and an airplane loaded with medical supplies, or the mission of picking up a passenger out in the bush who has malaria, but the fastest road system to a hospital takes 9 hours. So it's wonderful to be training in an environment like here at MATA or at Prairie, where this is the focus and goal of the training. At MATA, my instructors and mentors are teaching from personal experience, and emphasis on excellence and precision is invaluable preparation for developing the skills I need. The impact that I hope to have on the mission field is I want to be an encourager, someone who is seen as a friend who makes time for people, who is interested and invested in the lives around me. Yes, having the skills to fix and fly airplanes is important, but that's not why I'm going to the mission field. When I'm working in the hangar and my colleague is having a hard day, I take time to listen, and then I hear that his friend just died in a motorbike accident. Or when I go for lunch at the shack and try speaking the little Luganda I've learned with the local ladies and who've cooked and just ask about their families. When a pilot comes in for maintenance from the Congo and I hear his son is really sick, we should stop and pray before he heads back again. To me, that's impact. Those are the moments God works through, and that's what I want to be a part of. Yes, I've definitely faced obstacles. I've experienced discrimination because of my gender, received comments like my brain isn't as technical as a guy's, faced demeaning situations. But I've also had an overwhelming amount of very experienced and influential men in the aviation industry encourage me forward. I've had people I never expected invite me into their hangars to help with projects and share with their expertise. People offering to take me along on flights so I can build experience. People who've made time to answer my questions, given me resources to help in my training, make sure I know how low level flying through the mountains feels like, and really just cheer me on. And many of these people have not been Christians, and it's been exciting how through these encouraging situations, which have been so supportive and empowering to me, I've also been able to share the why behind why I am pursuing aviation, and that's been really neat. For me, the passion has always been the people, and it's so rewarding getting to be a part of people's lives. For me, that was my that was my favorite part about being in Uganda, how I got to work with the team of national staff and expats there.